Is everyone obsessed with the wrong camera specs? I think they are, and in this video I'm going to dive into why that is. I don't know why that is. There's so many specs that people talk about that they're obsessed with that just aren't relevant to a whole bunch of stuff. And the amount of comments I get on videos like, why do you like use this particular setting over that particular setting, and there's just like so many different variables to it where it just, most of it doesn't matter. It's just like, can you expose a camera correctly? Do you know what settings you need? And do you know how to capture an image? And do you know which camera is right for which reason? And yeah, I don't know. There's so many hypey features and cameras coming out that everyone's obsessed with. It just doesn't matter so much. Anyway, let's get into it. This is a little bit of a different video than I normally upload. A bit of a camera nerd video. But here we go. Hey creators, Aimon here. This is where I help you unlock your dream creative life. And yeah, we're on the floor of my studio again today. But the first feature that I want to talk about that people are obsessed with, and I have no idea why, is global shutter. Like, I get it. You want like 1/48 over, you know, the correct frame rate and all that sort of stuff. But like, and it's sure it's going to reduce, you know, the camera shake and all the warping when you're moving a camera. But like, how often are you whipping a camera around so violently that you're going to get, you know, warping in your image? Everyone's just so obsessed with new cameras coming out having global shutter. It's like, just have the shutter speed double what the frame rate is. It's just not that hard. And modern cameras like A7S III, even my Blackmagic, I do whip pans like crazy on a gimbal, on property shoots, all day, every day. You know who notices? Nobody. Nobody ever notices. And I'm even brutal about it sometimes. Sometimes, let's say I forget my ND filter on a set. And because we're living in the modern world, everyone's making content these days. And like, you know, I just shoot for agents. So it doesn't really matter. We're outside, it's sunny. I'm overexposing to make sure my S-log's in, you know, at 1.7 or whatever I want to do at the time. And I just up my shutter speed. As long as it's a multiple of the frame rate, you know, let's say I'm shooting in 25. Hell, sometimes I shoot 25 footage in 50 and I just don't slow it down. You know who notices? Nobody. Sometimes I'm operating outside at 1,000 shutter speed on video mode. So many video creators would just be so snobby and ridiculous about it. Like, oh my God, you can't do that. That's disgusting. You need an ND filter and you need the Peter McKinnon one and it has to be $500 and like, it's just so intense and ridiculous a lot of the time, I think anyway. As a creator, I mean, like, you know, and this is content I'm getting paid for, right? Content I'm getting paid well for because the content of the actual video matters way more than visually how it looks. But often visually how it looks is amazing. The only reason that matters a lot is when you're inside and there's LEDs and it adds flicker. And again, you just flick it up and down until you find it. The shutter speed that works. So global shutter, I think it's so hypey. Everyone like is like, I'm not buying a camera until, these are just comments I see on Reddit and YouTube videos and stuff. I'm not buying the next camera unless it's got global shutter. It's like, when have you done a whip pan so violently that you need global shutter? Name one time in your career. And again, most people are just hobbyists, right? They don't even get paid for content, which is so fine. But again, that's just another reason why you would never, ever desperately need global shutter. Yeah, there's just a lot of like snobbery and if that's even a word, and camera nerds and stuff that are just too intense about some features. And that's a feature that I think is not intense. And I'm going to get into the features that I think are actually necessary in a new camera and the features that I'm waiting out on. But what's another one? APS-C mode. It's like, this is something that's out in cameras all the time, but oh, it bugs me so badly when all the YouTubers, they're like, oh yeah, it's a 16 to 35 mil, but actually you go into APS-C mode and it's actually a 16 to 82 mil. It's like, it's not, dude. Yeah, you can like crop a camera, but you could also crop that in post. Like, it's not a 82 mil, whatever it is, whatever the crop is. It's a 16 to 35 mil lens, okay? Maybe it's 50 on the crop because it's 1.6. So that makes more sense. But it's like, bruh, like I hate when people are like, oh, this lens is a 16-35, but technically, it's like, no, technically not. That's an APS-C camera. And if I wanted an APS-C camera, I'd get an APS-C camera. Okay, bruh. I don't know. again, just one of those things that I'm just like, people obsess over that metric. They're like, buy this lens because it's actually a bigger lens than it is, but it's not. It's not. And can we all just agree that it's not? You know? My God, it's so gnarly. And yeah, like dynamic range is another thing that people obsess so much over. The amount of comments I've gotten, like I do some DaVinci and real estate tutorials on my channel, right? The amount of comments I've gotten from people saying, like, how do you expose and oh my God, how do you keep highlights in your windows when you're shooting inside and stuff like that? It's like, hey dude, have you ever heard of pulling the highlights down in post? Oh, you've got way more dynamic range than you actually think you do. It's more about how you grade an image. So like expose an image correctly and then grade an image correctly to get what you want. Just sidebar, like Brisbane, the state that I'm in, has the highest competition for real estate video in the world. That's a crazy stat. And I'm in real estate videos, right? I'm in my own little corner of the city here, so I've kind of got that cornered, which is all good. But the amount of videos that I see out there where people are just blowing out the highlights like crazy. And this is part of the conversation that I'm having, is like, so many people are obsessed with particular camera specs, but also so many people don't even know how to expose an image correctly. And if they do, they don't know how to grade it correctly. I would say 50% of the videos that I see, the real estate videos in my city, and this, again, this is super niche, but like I'm just picking on a particular industry because I'm in that industry, right? There's 1 to 5 shots in each video of these 50% of the videos where half of the image is completely clipped, entirely clipped. And these people are getting paid work. It's astonishing to me. But, you know, obviously agents and, you know, our customers and their customers, buyers and sellers, they aren't really paying attention to that kind of thing. But, I mean, it's very clear to me based on the feedback that I've gotten, that because I know how to expose and grade an image correctly to actually maximize the dynamic range out of a camera. You know, it's like, oh, I want 45 stops of dynamic range in my next camera. It's like, no, you've got plenty. Even if the camera only has 13, I think Sony boasts that they've got like 16 or 15.5 or something. It's like, no, you don't. No, you definitely don't. You definitely don't. Otherwise, you would just like, everything would always be within the dynamic range and nothing would ever clip, you know? Or maybe if you like deliver a video in S-Log. But who's doing that? Nobody, right? Of course, you're going to put it in Rec 709 and something's going to clip. But realistically, 12.5, 13 stops of dynamic range. That's what my Blackmagic has, I'm pretty sure. Good old 13 stops. This guy, you big cutie, hey? But, and I maximize that dynamic range like crazy because, again, I know how to use a camera. I'm kind of like going off topic here, but yeah, this is a general rant about cameras and what people expect out of cameras and stuff. It's just crazy. It's a wild, wild west out here, as I'm sure you know. And, you know, I'm not picking on anyone in particular. I'm just more talking about my preferences because, like, I'm waiting out on the next camera, right? I use the Blackmagic because it shoots RAW, shoots 6K. And yeah, the amount of data that I can capture is amazing, right? And I absolutely love the Sony cameras for everything that they have. And the reason I'm not using them right now on my shoots in my professional work is because it's just the same look as everybody else. And again, you know, everyone, you can just tell from a mile away, from a kilometer away, as we say in Australia, who's using what camera, and most of them are Sony A7S IIIs, and none of them have any grading experience because there's just zero contrast in any of the images. It's just like raw dogging it straight out of the camera, right? But anyway, like what I'm waiting out on is like an A1 II, something like that. And what it's going to have inbuilt into it is RAW, and I'm surprised Sony hasn't got this going for them just yet. Because I know Canon has that in a couple of their cameras, right? And yeah, I just want RAW. I want to be able to shoot more data. Because again, every camera out there right now that's in that, you know, $2,000 to $5,000 bracket, Blackmagic and all, they are perfectly capable for anything you could possibly ever need. Some of the images I get out of my A7S III when you manipulate the grade really well, it astonishes me. And I've had this camera for what, 3 or 4 years now it's been out. So the only thing that you could possibly need more in a camera, I think, is to be able to capture more data, you know? In all intro on the A7S3s, what do they capture? 500 megabytes a second or something. That's cool, but I want to be able to capture, raw 1,000 megabytes per second. I don't even know. But surely they're sitting on it, and surely they're going to give it to us at some point. As we know, all the camera companies, they just leak features very, very slowly, right? And it's a bit of a buzzkill, mate, because they take their time with it, and they've got all these features locked and loaded, ready to go, and they can put it in a tiny body if they wanted to, but they don't. But we'll get it at some point, and I'm looking forward to getting my hands on a camera with more capabilities in terms of how much data it can capture. But yeah, I'm sure that's coming in the next couple of years. But yeah, I'd love to know what you think about this little camera rant. I think a lot of people are obsessed with features that they'll just never use themselves or aren't actually useful as well. I would love to know what your feature is. What are you obsessed with? What do you want in a camera that isn't there yet, or that is there but you're obsessed with it? And yeah, what are you holding out on? What are you waiting for in the next few years in cameras? Because yeah, man, when Sony has RAW in it, it's game over. It's game over, baby. So yeah, thanks for watching this little camera rant. If you liked it, let me know, because I've got a whole bunch more rants in me when it comes to camera stuff. But yeah, I'll chat to you in the next episode.